Round one is in the books, and we're going to talk about day two on today's episode. But after sleeping on the Jahdae Barron pick from Denver out of Texas, I've had more thoughts I want to share. And I think that this is just kind of natural after a pick is made. I've become more and more optimistic, kind of by the hour about the pick. Because, well, it doesn't really appear that there's a big need for a corner on Denver's roster. At the end of the day, they got a great football player. And I said that in my kind of reaction to the video and all. And I probably should have just slapped myself right there and go, shut up and stop talking. You got a great football player. What are you complaining about, Matthew? And yeah, I'm right. Like, and that sounds like not an egotistical way, but yeah, like Denver they got a great corner. They got the Jim Thorpe Award winner. They got a versatile player who can play nickel, outside, and safety. Right now, it may not seem like there's a big hole for him, but I love preaching get best player available. And even if that moment you don't see a spot for him on the depth chart, a starting role for him, give it a year or two, and you're gonna be happy to have him on your team. So long term, I think this is gonna be a very good pick for the Broncos. They're gonna have Pat Surtain and Barron working the corners. Like that's gonna be a great duo for years to come. So I think this is just natural for all kind of fans. After round one of the draft, you wake up and you go, if I wasn't too happy about it last night, I'm going to be more excited about it today. And if I did like it last night, I'm going to be even more excited today. So with that, let's look at my day two mock draft for Denver and just some general NFL draft targets. So after going with Barron at pick number 20, which by a lot of accounts was a steal based on where people projected him to go, I'm going to go, and this is a little bit of a combination. This is actually mostly just what I think is going to happen. And I'm going to go with Dylan Sampson, Tennessee running back at pick 51. So a little bit of background on him. One, he was a one-year starter for the Volunteers. He was a touchdown machine last year for Tennessee. 20-plus touchdowns for Josh Heupel's offense. He's not, if you think like 20-plus touchdowns, goal line back. No, he was very capable of scoring from all over the field. He's not some like Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, style, bruising back. I mean, I'll pull up more of his info here for a second. I mean, we're talking 5'8", 199 pounds. So he's on the smaller, shiftier side. But I went with Sampson for the Broncos because one at 51, I think Sean and George Payton need to prepare that their number one and their number two running back target may not be there. TreVeyon Henderson and Caleb Johnson, I think, are the top two backs remaining. Would not be shocked if both those guys are gone. If one of them is available, then you take them. But in this mock draft, neither one was there. So it left me with no choice other than taking, I thought, the next best running back, which was Dylan Sampson. So a little bit of background on him. He's a little bit on the smaller end, but he is fast. He's physical. He plays bigger than 5'8". When you think 5'8", you're probably thinking scat back. That's not really what he did last year for Tennessee. And I watched every Tennessee game. So he can, really lower the shoulder when he needs to. But he got 36 touchdowns in 35 games. He set the school record with one touchdown in 11 straight games. He had 22 touchdowns on the ground last year. The knock with him is a little bit of the receiving factor. He didn't showcase that a lot at Tennessee, but, I mean, the Tennessee offense was not designed for the running back to get a bunch of receptions. He had 20 receptions last year. He had 2 drops, so there's something to work on there, but I feel that he has some great vision. He's got good patience. He's got good acceleration. He's got good burst, and for picking 51, you take your medicine a little bit, right? You decided to go with the best player available in round one. You missed out on Omarion Hampton. You hope that Henderson or Johnson's going to be there. That's plan A and plan B. But you got to be prepared for one of those guys not to be there, or potentially both those guys. And if that's the case, watch for Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. Quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard to get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch or tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, NBA playoff tickets, NHL tickets. So if you want to go see the Nuggets, the Avs, or if you're brave enough to go watch the Rockies, Game Time might have to pay you to go watch the Rockies, which I don't think I can say, but the Rockies right now. Anyway, check out Game Time because you can save on last minute deals. Up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So check out the Game Time app. Take the guesswork with buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, with the Broncos' third round pick, I went with Jordan Phillips, another guy who coincidentally started off at Tennessee, then he transfers to Maryland. I felt that Denver wanted to bring in a true run-stopping DT to rotate in with DJ Jones, and Phillips at pick 85 was the best player available for the Broncos. So a little bit of background on him. 6'1", 313 pounds. I think he can play close to a traditional nose tackle in the NFL. The reason why I kind of gravitated towards him is Dane Brugler had an excellent write-up about it, and the first few sentences sold me. Here's what he said. Overall, Phillips is a dancing bear with big man twitch and commanding power. You sold me. Like at pick 85, beggars can't be choosers there, and I want Denver to reinforce the trenches and to help set the tone in the run-stopping game. You brought back DJ, you got Malcolm Roach, but I feel that in day 2 of the draft, this is a good opportunity to kind of inject some youthfulness into that defensive line, help keep legs fresh throughout the season because those big fellas can get worn out throughout the game and throughout the course of a season. So I would like to see the Broncos add a defensive tackle. They've got enough pass rushers as it is, so just go out there and get a big, fat, ugly nose tackle, right? Just go get someone who's going to be a tree stump, who's going to sit in the middle, and is going to make life miserable for offensive linemen through all 4 quarters of the game. So that is my day 2 mock draft right there. Now I want to look at some round 2 and 3 draft targets. If you're wondering, all right, put the mock draft aside because mock drafts are an absolute crapshoot. Just who are the best players, okay? I've got 4 to kind of keep an eye on. I'll start off with Alfred Collins. We've talked about him a bunch on the channel, but he has got great size and athleticism. He's well over 300 pounds. He's bigger than Phillips was, and he's got great twitch, burst, athleticism. He just has some traits that you don't find in 330-pound human beings. So if you're looking for just a pure athlete at that size, he's your man. He was a big-time recruit for the Longhorns. He didn't really break out until his 5th year, but he also sat behind future first-round pick Byron Murphy, future second-round pick Tavondre Sweat. So maybe just not the right place for him to, ascend in the college ranks for a great draft profile. But Alfred Collins, I think, is going to be a fun pick for whichever team gets him. Next guy I'll throw out there is Elijah Arroyo. That's the Miami tight end. He may be one of the best receiving tight ends this draft has to offer when we look back at it. And this is a tight end class that features Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren. It's a very good tight end class, and Mason Taylor. The thing with Arroyo is there are some injury, concerns and red flags. He had 2 seasons in a row where knee injuries kind of kept him on the sideline. Put together a healthy 2024 season with Cam Ward. He was one of his go-to guys over the middle of the field. So if you're thinking tight end still, because after Evan Ingram, there's not a lot of depth there. There's not a lot of, greatness, to be honest. And Ingram's 29, 2-year deal. Not a bad idea to still bring a best player available and position of need pick. Arroyo from Miami would be a good tight end selection. Next, I want to look at 2 Georgia players, Jared Wilson and Tate Ratledge. Jared Wilson is kind of the consensus #1 center in this draft. So if you feel that Luke Wattenberg needs a little push from behind or just needs an outright replacement, Wilson could step in there and kind of be the final piece of that offensive line that I thought was great last year. The squeakiest wheel was your center, but it was Wattenberg's first year starting, so kind of cut him a little bit of slack for that. The other Georgia player is Tate Ratledge. He was a guard for UGA, and if you feel that, hey, we don't have a dire need right now, let's get the best player And like Barron, use the same logic of may not have a starting role in 2025, but it won't be long until he does. With Ben Powers kind of underwhelming a little bit, and I think, entering a contract year, you could take Ratledge, and like Barron, he may sit for a lot of his rookie season, but he's going to waltz in there as a sophomore and be ready to roll for year 2 of his career, and then you don't need to find a rookie to start, in front of Bo Nix in 2026. So those are some of your more traditional best player available type picks. You notice I don't have any receivers. I don't think Denver's going to go wide receiver. There was some chatter that they could move up for a receiver in the draft. To me, you could interpret that as, okay, they want one, they're going to go get one. I interpret that as they only wanted a select few receivers. And because they didn't get those guys, they're like, okay, we wanted to move up because we didn't like what we saw in day 2 of the draft at wide receiver. So it was either find our guy in round 1 or bail altogether. So for that reason, I don't think receiver is going to be in play for rounds 2 and 3, but we didn't think Barron would be in play at 20. So Denver may have a plan, and it might go out the window when the guy that they never thought would be there is available. All right, that's going to do it for us on our morning video today leading into day 2 of the draft. We will be live in a few short hours, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And if you're still watching, do me a big favor, drop a DEN in the comment section below.